business, and Gail Sussman-Miller is no exception. This lady is working with businesses, leaders, women, and she's doing amazing things. She's breaking through obstacles with her clients. I had to sit down and I just always pulled nuggets away from my interviews with individuals like Gail. I know you will too, so let's go check it out. Hi, everybody. This is Paul Hitchcock. Thank you for jumping on Giant TV. I am the founder and president of Giant Jacks Media, where we help others to grow and nurture their businesses. And really excited to have my guest here today, Gail Sussman-Miller. Gail, welcome. And Gail, I've got to say this because I wrote this down because I thought it was so great. You are people refer to you as the chief obstacle buster. So I want to understand, what exactly does that mean? And let's get into your practice. I have so many questions for you.
Thanks, Paul. Actually, that's a title I gave myself. So that winds up being what I help people do the most. And I work mostly with women leaders. Is obstacles it's sort of like the difficult way is the way. The obstacle is the way we learn. It's an invitation. And I love to help people actually embrace obstacles and say, all right, this is an opportunity. So that's part of the way I view it.
Part of the way. Well, yeah, let's talk about that because the obstacles. So what exactly are you focused on? Is it working with businesses, the owners of those businesses, management, and what sort of obstacles are you helping them to overcome?
Well, the answer is and it's interesting because I use the term women leaders. I kind of want them to self-select. If they consider themselves a leader, they could be at management level or director. Or,
oh, okay.
I do work with a lot of CEO, C-level people, and maybe they're business owners. They could be a solopreneur, but mostly women who manage others. And that's where almost all the work we do is usually on conversations, how to have effective conversations and how to have truthful conversations. So it's interesting how much, I'm sure you've experienced it, Paul, where in our society, we kind of gently go around things. We come at things sideways. We don't want to offend. We don't want to be too clear, ask too much. We want to make people uncomfortable. And I find there's actually, let me step back a minute. All of us, men and women, we all have feminine and masculine energy. It makes sense that women are going to have a lot of feminine energy. Yeah. But it isn't always true of all women. So in that, separating those two, feminine energy is a lot about nurturing, instinct, intuition, creativity. And if you think of it, it also aligns with being right-brained. And masculine energy tends to be left-brain. So linear, analytical process, more facts. And in conversation in the work world, there are deliverables, there's all these factual things, processes, projects that need to be done. In the middle of it all, though, or surrounding it, are the relationships and how you foster people feeling they belong, that they're contributing, putting in their best, training, teaching, encouraging, and giving feedback. It's amazing how uncomfortable people are giving feedback, even if it will help the person's career. So these are all sensitive points in conversation.
Yeah. So you're really focused on communication, working with women, and it's around effective communication. And you mentioned to me offline, part of it is women in particular can feel hesitant to get into saying, being
giving direction, authority, or telling somebody they need to do something, they'll take on more work and more tasks because they feel hesitant to do that. So you're working through some of those communication issues with your clients, right?
Right. To me, it all boils down to, what are your desires? Your desires for yourself, for your career, for today. What are your desires? What do you want to accomplish? What really lights you up? What do you want? And then asking for that. Asking, maybe it's, I'd like to be a part of a project, or I need to know how to do this, or I need help. That's an area men and women both don't want to look like they need help or don't know something. And then it's sometimes, so some of it's asking, and some of it's how do you respond when you're asked. Paul, will you do this? Could you take on this? Can you do this extra thing for me?
Oh, okay.
And how hard it is to say no, or not now, or I can do this piece, not all of it. I'd like to help you. I'm not the right person, whatever that is. And it's partly the asking, and it's what we say when we're asked, and limiting our time to take care of ourselves. So I think that's part of the challenge. It's very common I think, for a lot of women to want to please others. I love pleasing others.
Right.
It's when it's at a cost to you, that's when it requires setting a limit of some kind. We're saying, yeah, not today, because I have this much on my plate,
Other
or
stuff.
we don't need to justify, simply not today.
Yeah.
No.
So what's the outcome of the help that you're providing? So you work on this effective communication and getting these things done, because the outcome of this is what for you?
For me or for my clients?
For the client.
Well, it can be a lot of things. First of all, it's relying more on your own internal drivers than external. So we're less buffeted by what others are saying or what they're doing. Did they promote me or not promote me? It really helps women to stop sacrificing or tolerating things that are so draining energetically. It's very draining. So saying yes when you mean yes, and having a very clear no, helps women to do what really feels right to them, what matches their desires, what is going to have them serve better, do their role better. So I would say, I'm thinking of several clients right now. The impact is more clear expectations. So a lot more effective relationships and partnering, collaborating. Women are having what I call a more truthful conversation. So rather than hinting at things, or sometimes people just say things or complain, but they don't turn it into a request. Instead, it's very clear. Here's where we are. Here's where we need to get.
Yeah.
How will we get there? I picture it like a triangle.
Yeah.
And now things are happening. They're getting done, instead of 5 or 6 conversations and then maybe even asking someone else, could you go influence this person, or trying to manipulate. It's just so much more direct.
Yeah.
And people know where they stand. Your employees know where they stand with you, that it's enjoyable. It's more enjoyable work. I call it career joy. That's the end result. You're asking for what you want. You're moving into what you want to be doing.
Yes.
You see an opportunity. It's interesting to spot an opportunity or see a need in the organization. That's like the 5th time that's happened, and I could actually help over there. Oh, but I don't want someone to think this or that. When we just ask for what we want in a clear way, and I'm not talking about becoming
demanding,
rude or demanding, or it's, hey, Paul, I noticed there's this thing, and I'm pretty good at that. I've got room on my plate. Can I add that in? I know it doesn't necessarily fall under my job title, but that's something I can help or I can
Yeah.
advise. Would that be helpful?
Yeah.
And it
Liberating.
brings them joy, the
Liberating.
organization
Yeah.
benefits.
Yeah. 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 For sure. Gail, how did you get into this? And what's your background, in this area?
Well, it's kind of fun. I think there's always a fun story. I would say I consider myself to be a midlife bloomer, baby boomer. So I found my true passionate right work at the age of around the age of 41. I
Oh,
got married for the first time in my mid 40s,
okay.
and I discovered coaching by being the client of a coach.
Oh,
And then while working with her, I don't know, within 2 months of working with her, I got laid off. So the universe handed me this opportunity. I was fortunate to be able to go study to be a coach and said, oh my gosh, this is work I was born to do. This
you
is
just
like
loved it.
coming home to a profession that was designed only for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Awesome.
being on the receiving end, it's so much about increasing your awareness, then being really, really honest with yourself and saying, wow, I didn't realize I was doing that. Looking at your perspectives and then starting to focus on what you want and letting go of the self judgment, the old habits. We as human beings are set up to protect ourselves and to stay safe.
Hmm.
But so much of that comes from when we were younger
Right.
and it doesn't serve us anymore.
Yeah.
We're really quite capable and courageous. So I'm actually wearing a necklace that reminds me of my mission, and that is to
What is it?
inspire.
Oh, to inspire. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Inspire.
yeah. I
That
love it.
is, it doesn't take a lot. I have one client I remember saying, Gail, you believed in me before I believed in me. We
Oh,
just
yeah.
get into quite a habit of believing in our limitations and believing our thoughts are real. They are not the truth.
Yeah.
Thoughts come and go,
Yeah. Yeah. Limiting
self-judgment
beliefs.
especially.
Yeah. Limiting beliefs, obstacle for a lot of people. What's it look like, Gail, when you start working with somebody? Is it a series of meetings? You have an onboarding thing? What does that look like when you start out with somebody?
Great question. Because change happens over time, and first we're kind of digging in our feet to say, what is the current situation? And then what is it you desire? And then start building these habits to move in that direction and integrate them. I like to dive right in. So I am not very linear when it comes to that. There are coaches who have a very prescribed process. I do some initial activity for us to get started, and then it's what's going on in your life today, what's challenging you in your life today or this week, or some conversation you just had. What is a conversation you've been putting off having, or you kind of keep having half of the conversation, but you can't quite take it all the way there because something's holding you back. You're
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So we start diving into the
Getting in
discomfort right away.
right away.
And
Yeah.
it sort of I really prefer, it's my style to teach what's needed in the moment as it's needed rather than to follow a sequence. And the
Got it.
opportunities keep presenting themselves over and over. And a really big piece of what I love to help my clients do is to celebrate their wins.
Oh,
We start out every call. What is one place where you move through some former discomfort and took action or spoke up
oh,
or
that's
drew a
great.
line?
That's great. Yeah.
And then we debrief it to say, well, that wasn't just an accident.
Hmm.
So what were you thinking at the time? What was the belief you held on to?
Yeah.
Because usually we're letting go of an old belief and taking on a new one.
That's a interesting comment. I was thinking while you were saying that because when something works and you have a success, it's easy to just keep moving forward. The harder thing is take a step back. Why did it work? What was the process that made it work? I think about that
Right.
often in sales and marketing. My business is, okay, this worked, reverse engineer it and then repeat it going forward.
Yeah. There's a couple things that happen in this process. One is people do not give themselves much credit or any credit when something works. Because actually, it's funny. I wonder if it's still on my desk. I was just meeting with a client this morning. Well, I don't know where it went, but I drew a picture for her. And it's a very simple picture. I learned this from Dan Sullivan. I want to give him the credit. We are such high achievers. We work towards an ideal. Okay. There's this ideal that we want. This is when life will be great, and I'll have this and this and this many cars and this many kids and this career title. And it's like the concept of the horizon. If we wanted to touch the horizon, you and I know we would circle the planet till the day we die. You cannot touch the horizon, but you can see it. And an ideal is somewhat like that. So you have this out there, but the most important thing is to start at point A and move to point B. And what he discovered was half the people who were unhappy would get to point B and look at the ideal and say, but I have so far to go.
Wow.
That was nothing. The people who were happy got to point B, turned around and looked at point A and said, look how far I've come.
Nice. Yeah. Love
Massive difference. So when I'm
Massive.
helping people to say, okay, so Paul, what were you thinking? What was the belief you operated under? Like, yeah, what's the worst could happen? I'm going to be honest. I really want to know this. I'm going to go ask. And then you go ask. And it wasn't, you feel like it was easy. You got, the person respected you for asking. So we take it apart so you can do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And you can help yourself know, I've actually got a process. First, I write down what I desire. And then I look at what is all that self-talk. Oh, you're going to seem greedy to ask for that. You're going to seem incompetent if you ask for help. And then what's really true? What's really true? The truth is, I want this information. It'll be helpful to me.
Yeah.
And they'll probably, it doesn't matter what they think. This is what I desire. It's what I need. And you decide, I'm doing it. And then you go off, you make the request, and you realize, I've got a process now.
Yeah. God, I love that card you showed. It's just, I love simple things. I learned early in my career, KISS, keep it simple, stupid, right? I mean, I remember somebody up on stage, KISS, KISS, KISS. And that card there, even though it's simple, it just was a profound thing you just stated. I'm in my own mind, God, what a simple thing, go back to A, look at the progress versus this thing you hold up here. So I love those examples.
Well, that had to be a powerful concept to me because I learned that from Dan Sullivan maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people just get used to being so super hard on themselves that, you're moving into a new house. You kind of want all those boxes gone the next day. But some people judge themselves so harshly. I can't believe it. It's Thursday and you don't have all those boxes gone. Yeah, but how many did you fold up and get rid of?
Yeah, 20.
And
Yeah.
what's important? What's really truly important? You spend time with your family instead of, nope, I gotta work from 6 a.m. to midnight.
Yeah.
And it is about what you really truly desire.
Yeah. This stuff is all great. And I have to mention, you've got some live events coming up, I think July 8th and 22nd. What's going on with those?
Thank you for asking about that because I'm really excited about it. And it's a lot of these concepts. So it's called Uncover Your Power and Truth. And it's interesting. There are a lot of very small ways that women tend to give away some of their power in little slivers here and there, where they don't fully ask for what they want, or don't fully say no, or put up with things, tolerate things. So one of the big things that'll be happening, that's a 2-hour workshop, and I'm excited that it's live in person. I know live always sounds like, well, yeah, as compared to what?
Yeah.
But it's in person.
Right.
We're holding it at Catalyst Ranch, one of my favorite really creative spots in Chicago.
Oh, cool.
And we're going to do some journaling, some walking around, some moving exercises that help get at what the current limitations are in habits, and how women can start, instead of needing validation from other people, or getting a promotion, or hearing that was a good job, everything outside of ourselves.
Yep.
How can it come from inside you, that you know what you know and trust what you know? Because our intuition is incredibly powerful, and it isn't all from our brain.
Right.
There are other forces at work in the world, and there are tools we can use.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Gail, I could talk forever. This information is so insightful. And I just want to tell everybody that get connected with Gail. And so you can find her around this video. You know, we stream these everywhere. So whether you're watching this on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever you're seeing this, connect with Gail. Certainly find her on LinkedIn. And Gail, we're going to try to include your links on these events around this.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then love to have you back and track, what's going on and with you and your progress. But thank you so much for being here. It's a really great conversation.
You are such a generous connector, Paul. I appreciate the way you reached out, and you make yourself so available. I hope that people realize you're the real deal, because we've had a couple of conversations now. It's not the most common thing. And I think a lot of people, especially when they're thinking about people who teach marketing, they're like, oh, it's all sales and it's all fluff.
Right.
Paul is really so generous in giving away tips and advice and help. And I so appreciate this invitation today. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, and thank you for the kind words. All right, Gail, we will see you soon.
Thank you. See you, Paul.
Okay.
Bye.